So we have already discussed about artificial neural network in the previous day. Now today I will start this session from the concept of bias. So what is this bias we have to discuss? See, say consider one neural network where we have inputs like x1, x2, x3. Say these are the inputs of the neural network, and the weights applied to them are denoted as say W1, W2 and W3. So what we have discussed yesterday, that is the output Y will be defined as some function of say Z, where it is known as summation of input as well as weights. So here what is I? I is the number of inputs. So this shows us the effectiveness of the particular input. And what is the weight of the input? See, the weight of the input I have already discussed. It is directly proportional to the impact of the network. Means whenever I'm talking about weight of an input, if the input is important, then the weight will be high. If the input is less important, then we will have less value in the weight. Now what is this bias term? See, bias is like intercept. So I have to explain it in more details, but bias is like a intercept which is added in a linear equation. Means it will look like this. Output is equal to say sum, and we know that inputs and weights. And bias means it's like an intercept added to the linear equation like this. This is how we can use the term bias in the equation in order to form the output of the artificial neural network. Now I am giving you one simple example. Say, consider one equation, that is y equal to mx plus c. So this is the equation of the straight line, right? Here m, it is acting as a weight. Please mute your mic. There is someone whose mic is not muted. Please mute the mic. So consider one equation y equal to mx plus c. Here m is acting as weight, and the constant c is acting as bias, you can see. So in case of equation of the straight line, you can tell that the constant c is acting as a bias. Now what is the significance? Now suppose c is absent from this equation. So what will happen? So we can expect some lines, straight lines like this. That is, due to the absence of bias, the model will train over a point passing through origin only, which is not in accordance with a real life scenario. Right? In real life scenario, it is not possible that always a line is passing through the origin. Right? So also, now we can consider the situation when C is present. So we will get this kind of diagram. When C is present, so with the introduction of bias, the model will become more flexible. Means it helps the model to learn the pattern, and it acts like an input node that is always produces a constant value, one or other constant. So why we are using bias? This thing is the most important thing. See, bias is not like input. bias is one additional parameter that we will include in the neural network architecture. It allows you to move the line down and up, right? So whenever we have this constant C which is acting as a bias, you can move the line in downwards or upwards for fitting or the predicting the data better. So if the constant C is absent, then the line will pass through the origin 0, 0 and you will get a poorer fit. So that's why we need the concept of bias over here. So basically my point is, introduction of bias in ANN architecture helps the model to learn the pattern, and it acts like an input node that always produces some constant value, maybe one or other constant value. Now we have to understand what is the location. See, whenever we have one neural network, say this is one neuron and this is the summation function and this is the activation function we have, and this is the say output, say y. Now here say this is one input, say x1, and we have one weight associated with w1, x2, w2, x3, w3. Now what is the location of the bias? This thing is very much important. See, bias is a unit which is not connected to any previous layer. It is just appended to the start or the end of the inputs. So this is where we can add bias. You can add bias over here or you can add bias over here. So bias is just a node which can be appended at the input layer at either at the start position or at the end position, and it will be connected to the hidden layer, each node of the hidden layer, and it is not affected by the value of the previous layer. So value of the bias will never be affected by the value of the previous layer. So this thing you have to keep in mind. So what is the importance of bias in one word? See, in a neural network, if weight increases, so basically it will increase the steepness of the activation function, and it decide how fast the activation function will trigger. Whereas bias is used to delay the triggering of the activation function. So it is basically introduced to get some kind of balance in the neural network. Means it is actually providing some threshold. So it will fix up some value beyond which the neural network will share information to the next layer. So in one word, so for the time being, you just try to understand the concept of bias is introduced in order to get more flexible neural network that can fit into the model properly. So in order to get a good trained neural network, we need bias, and it is added like this. So we have already discussed about this equation, and always we will have 1 plus bias term over here. So this is the basic concept, but I'm not going into the details. We will discuss it in more details with some mathematics, but today we have to understand some more important computation which is associated with neural network. So what is our topic of discussion today? Try to understand.
Ma'am,
See,
can I ask you?
yes, sure.
In the previous picture, if
Mhm.
the y and x is going through the the round part neural,
Yes,
then the bias is appearing there.
yes,
If bias
exactly.
is tends to 0, then what will happen? Like the equation will
Yes.
be more strong or something.
So I have already explained. This is a very good question. Now I will show you what is the position of the bias. See, bias never be a zero term. It will be a constant term. You have to give some value to the bias. Right? See, your question is, it's a very good question. If this term is 0, this portion is 0, and we have some value in the bias, it means what? It will perform something. So bias is something which is not letting the equation tending towards 0. Right? So what is the value of the bias? It is decided by the designer of the ANN. So the value of the bias will be 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 0.1, anything. Apart from 0, there should be some value in the bias, right? So introducing bias means if by any situation, if this term becomes 0, then what is the meaning? If this term is 0, see, neural network means these neurons are connected. Connected means what? Whatever information we are having over here, we are passing this information into the next level. So if this term is 0, means information is not passing. If information is not passing, then if we have further layers, then we will not be able to see the outcome. So that's why we have introduced bias. Even if this term is 0, means information is not going to flow, if we have added bias term over here, then it will have some value. Having some value means it will pass some information to the next layer. So this is the concept of bias. So for flowing information from one level to another level, we need bias. So bias never be 0, right?
Ma'am, why we would slow the trigger? Like you said, it is basically for slowing the trigger, but why we would like to slow it?
Okay,
If it is fast, it is not good.
No, see what will happen? This is the important, that's why I will show you the mathematics. See, try to understand one point. See, what is your intention? You want to learn, right? So if I give you a very fast learning, what will happen? Will you be able to understand anything? And the next point is, if I go very slow, so is it good for learning? No. So we need some kind of a balance, right? So that's why this balance is introduced in terms of bias. Now I will show this concept mathematically, then you will understand. But got the idea, na? Training the neural network very fast, is it required? No. Because my network will not learn anything. We need a balanced learning process, balanced training process, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now let's check out this. Now, okay, I'm just requesting everyone that please take a pen and paper. It will be easier for you to understand. Now I'm going to show you some kind of mathematics so that I could explain each and everything to you all. And these portions are very much important, and ask me as much question as you can. So let's start with the concept. So what we are going to discuss today? So we are going to discuss the concept of neural network, right? And also I am going to discuss the math which is describing as a single neurons. So I've already given you the basic equation, that is summation and activation function and plus bias. So this is a very basic equation. Now start from the concept. So there are many neurons in the single layer and many layers in the whole network. In the previous day I have explained that whenever we are discussing about neural network, we are not dealing with a single neuron. We have many neurons in the single layer, and we may have many layers also, input layer, hidden layer, output layer, and in the hidden layer also we may have many sub layers. Anyways, so this is the basic concept. Now whenever we have a large network, how this network will work. So consider this network. See, we have x1, x2 and x3. I have one question for you all. And say this is the output neuron y1. And here we have weights associated with W1, W2 and W3. So I have discussed that the first thing is our network needs to do what it needs to do. It needs to pass some information in the forward direction through the layers. And we already discussed how we can calculate this output y1, that is activation, that is the activation function, and we can write it as weight input into input plus weight into input plus weight into input. And output of the neuron is the activation function of a weighted sum of the neuron inputs. Now, consider the more difficult. So this is your case 1. Now consider the second case, that is case 2. Now the network looks like this. We have x1, x2 and x3. Now here we have y1 and y2, and see the connection. x1 is connected over here and x1 is connected over here, and the weights are W11. See, there is one significance whenever I'm writing this 1 I will tell you, and it is say W21, and now it is connected over here, and the weight is W12 and W22, and this x3 is connected like this, and the values are say W13 and W23. Consider this network. Now we have to discuss. So we can apply the same logic whatever we have applied over here with the two neurons whenever we have the two neurons in the second layer. Here we have only one neuron in the second layer. Now see how this equation changes. So in this example, every neuron of the first layer is connected to each neuron in the second layer, and this type of network is known as fully connected network. So basically we are working on fully connected network. Now see, neuron Y1 is connected to neuron X1 and X2 with the weight W11 and W12, W11 and W12. Now I'm just going to explain you what is the meaning of this. Here you have to remember one note, means how we are giving these numbers. So whenever we are going to define this number, this notation, say whenever I'm writing this kind of notation, in this notation the first index represents the output neuron and the second index represents the input neuron. Now the question. So here x1 is connected with y1. So is this notation is correct? W11. Here 1 represents output neuron. Yes, x1 is connected with output neuron y1. 1 is there, so that's why it's 1. And second index represents the input neuron. Means it is coming from x1. That's why it is 1. Now check this one. Here the index is W12. Is this notation correct? Yes, this notation is correct because x1 is connected with y2. So first index represents what? The output neuron. So here I have written 1. So is it correct? Yes or no? 1, 2. If I write W12, is it correct?
Ma'am, I think 2, 1.
Yes, it should be W21. Means weight of this connection will be 2, 1 because 2 represents the output neuron. Here x1 is connected with y2. And this one should be 1, means input neuron. From x1 it is coming. That's why it is 2, 1. So I think this concept is clear. Now see here, x2 connected with y1. So y1, that's why it is 1. And this connection is coming from input 2. So that's why it is 2. So this is how this representation will work. So this thing you have to keep in mind, that is the indices, the first indices represent output neuron and the second indices represent input neuron. So this is the basic concept. Now how could I represent this fully connected network with an equation? So we have y1 and y2. So we have to follow this mechanism. So y1 should be, say, w11 x1, w12 x2. Please check whether I'm writing it properly or not. w13 x3, and y2 will be represented as w21 x1 plus w22 x2 plus w23 x3. So whenever you have single neuron in the output layer, we are representing it like this, and whenever we have more than one neuron in the output layer, we are representing it like this. So now this is the equation. Now see, this equation can be represented as matrix multiplication. How? We can write it as this. Say w11, w12, w13, w21, w22, w23, and it will be written as x1, x2, x3. So this is the concept. So you will get it as x1 w11, it's x1 into w11 plus x2 into w12 plus x3 into w13, then x1 into w21 plus x2 into w22 plus x3 into w23. So this is how you can represent this one. So now you can write the output of the first neuron, that is y1, and you can write the output of the second neuron y2 as this one. So instead of doing this thing, you can write it straight away like this. That is, if I multiply this 2, then we will get y1 and y2. So this is how it will be represented. So this is the matrix multiplication representation. So from this we are getting this. So this thing you have to remember. So for the whole layer, so what is our intention? So we are going to design some equation which can be applicable for fully connected network, no matters how large the network is. So basically the equation will be, so just calculating output n. So whenever we have n number of neurons, so we can write it as weights n minus 1 into input. So this is the equation, weights into input, then we will get the output. So here we have 2 neurons, so say for n number of neurons, so this is the equation that we can follow. So now this is the equation. All variables are matrices. So you have to keep in mind here whatever variables I have used, output, weight, input, all are matrices. And the multiplication sign here represents what? It represents matrix multiplication. These two things you have to keep in mind. So usage of matrix in the equation allows us to write it in a simple form and makes it a true for any number of inputs and neurons in the output. So that's why we are doing in this manner. So this is the first part that you have to keep in mind. Now we have equation for a single layer, but what we can do for the further calculation. So this thing you have to keep in mind, because after writing this equation, now we have to consider the concept of activation function also. So how the final equation will look like. So therefore, the final equation will be written as, just a minute. So the final equation will be output n, and then we can write activation, and then we will write this one within bracket, that is weights n minus 1 into output n minus 1. Now why it is output n minus 1? Now I am giving you the more details. So see, whenever I am talking about neural network, it will look like this. Fully connected network. So this is the hidden neuron and this is the output neuron. So they are connected like this. And they are also connected like this. Right? So here we have weight 0 and in this position, and here we have weight 1, and this is output 0, this is output 1, and this is output 2. So here what we are doing, so here in case of output n, we can write it as activation weights, that I'm talking about weights. How many weights we have? So we have 3 layers. So we have n minus 1 weights. So we have 2 weights, 0, 1. And output, how many outputs we have? Output n minus 1. Right? So this is how, so with this equation, we can propagate the information through as many layers of the neural network as we want. But without any learning, the neural network is just a set of random matrix multiplication. That does not mean anything. So here you have to remember one point. So whatever matrix multiplication we are performing or whatever equation we are using, we need some mechanism additionally so that our neural network will learn. Now we will concentrate on the more details, that is your step number 2. The step number 2 of the neural network is known as passing the error. Or you can say that this term is known as back propagation. So now what is the meaning of this concept? So to understand the concept of error backpropagation algorithm, so we have to consider this example. Again, we have to consider this simple example. Say x1, x2, and we have y1. This is the output neuron. So we have 2 neurons in the first layer and we have 1 neuron in the second layer. So now let's assume that Y layer is the output layer. So this is the output layer of the neural network. And Y1 neuron should return some value as an output. Now this value can be different from the expected value. So I have already explained that what is the outcome of the model of any machine learning model, it will not match with the actual value which is there in the testing section in your data set. So whatever output this Y1 is giving, it will not match with the expected value. So why it is not matching? Because there exists some error. So here what is my point? So whatever output you are getting from the neuron in the output layer, this output will have some error because it will not match with the actual output. So we can think of this error as the difference between the returned value and the expected value. So we have discussed this one. So this difference, we can term it as error. So now we know that the error which is coming from Y1, so we need to pass this error to the lower layer. Backpropagation means what? See, in the first equation, whatever I have described, so the intention of the first equation is to flow the information towards forward. Means we have to send the information in the forward direction. After forward propagation, then we will reach the output node. So whenever we have reached the output node, we will get some output. Now in the second step, now we have to concern about the error. Whatever output we will get after performing forward propagation, this output will have some error. It will not match with the expected output. Why it is not matching? Because we have some error. So what we have to do? Whatever error we have calculated, we have to back propagate it in the lower level, means in the previous level. So this is the concept of back propagation. So what we can do? So we know that the error on y1, whatever error we have get, we have to back propagate it into the lower level. Now why we are sending it in the back propagation manner? Because the network, we want our network to learn, right? So now we want to pass this error into this x1 and x2 in the backward direction. Now see how we can pass this error. See, initially we have one technique. In this technique, what we can do, it is known as naive approach. So what is this naive approach is all about? Which calculation we should follow in order to back propagate the error in the previous layers, means so that the errors can be distributed in the each node of the previous layer. So since there are two neurons, x1 and x2, so we could say that both x1 and x2 error is equal to y1 error. Means whatever error we have got over here, if we divide this error by 2, then equally this error will be distributed in this x1 and x2. So this is known as naive approach. So whatever error you are getting, divide that error with the value with the number of nodes present. So if we have 3 nodes over here, so we will divide the error by 3. So this error will be back propagated and they will be equally distributed in the previous layer, right? So this is the naive approach. So now there is one problem. So what is the problem? Now I'm going to tell you. See, in case of neural network, I have already discussed that when each neural network is associated with some weights. So we have some weights. So neuron have different weights connected to them. If the weight connected to x1 neuron is much larger than the weight connected with x2, then what will happen? Then whatever error we are back propagating from y1, it will influence more the value of x1. So whatever error we are sending in the backward manner, if this weight is very large than this weight, it means whatever error we are sending, it will pay more attention to this x1. Means it will affect x1 more, because previously I have explained that what is the significance of weight. If the weight is large, means it has greater influencing factor. So whenever the error is coming in the backward direction, more weight means more influencing factor. So x1 will be affected more than x2. So in this case, we can say that if W11 is larger than W12, then we should pass more of the y1 error to x1 neuron, since this is the neuron that contributes to it, means it is associated with it. So at this point of time, you can say that this neuron will be affected more with the error of y1 and it will be affected less. x2 will be affected less. So since W11 is greater than W12. So this is the concept of name approach. Now we have to observe that if we can update our algorithm, because this is not a good thing, because we are distributing the error equally and back propagating it. Due to the presence of weight, what happens, even I am sending equal error, but it is creating a problem. It is influencing one node more than another node depending on the weight value. So this approach is not at all accepted. So can we have any alternative approach? Yes, we have one alternative approach. The approach of creating ratio. Means in case of our algorithm, what we can do, we can split this error according to the ratio of input. So instead of dividing the error into 2 or 3 parts, we will consider the concept of ratio of input neuron weight to all the weights coming to the output neuron. So I'm just giving you the example. Say I'm just calculating error in x1 node, means how much error is coming at x1 node. So it will be calculated by ratio accordance with the weights. So the weight associated with x1 is W11. It will be ratio with this one, W11 plus W12. That's why I was telling that ratio of the input neuron weight to all the weights coming to the output neuron. So the formula is, whenever I am calculating the error factor in some neuron, you have to consider the weight of that neuron divided by all other available weights in the network. You have to add them up. If you consider the ratio of these two, then it will be a good one. And then you just write error in y1. This is coming now. So error in y1 I am dividing in this manner. So how we can calculate error in x2? So weight associated with x2 is W12 and available weights in the network are W11 and W12, and this error is coming from y1. So this is the exact calculation of back propagation. So what we have studied so far, I'm just giving you a quick recap. That is, it is a simple thing. The neural network algorithm works in 2 ways. First, we have to propagate the information in forward direction. That is, we have forward propagation. So after propagating the information in forward direction by considering bias, activation function, weighted sum, we will get the output. So whatever output we will get, it will not match with our expectation. So we have to find out the error. So what is the error? The output that we have already got and output we have in our data set. Expectation versus whatever we have got predicted. Difference between these two is error. So that value will be back propagated to the previous layer neuron. So how we can back propagate? So division method will not work. So we will use this technique, this ratio of weight technique. That is, the second step is done, that is passing the error, that is known as back propagation. So the second technique is back propagation. Back propagation means sending the error in the backward direction. So this step is over. Up to this, is there any question? Okay, now I'm just giving you the more details. Now what happens if we have any complex network like this, x1, x2, say y1 and y2? We will try out that formula. So this is connected with x1, y1, so it will be W11 and it will be W21. And here if we connect this one, it will be W12 and it will be W22. Convention is okay. So this numbering is okay. You can check because we know that what is the meaning of this indices. Check this one. So this is our network. So in this case, what should be the formula of backpropagation? How can I calculate this one? So how can I calculate error in x1? It will be weight associated with it and the ratio of the available weight. Now how we can do this one? See, we know that whenever we have only this portion, so how we could write this one? So W11 plus W12 into EW1, and then we have one more section, then we could write it as plus W21 divided by W21 plus W22 and error from Y2, because this X1 will receive error from Y1 and Y2. So from Y1 and Y2. And what is the weight ratio? So weight ratio associated with X1 is W11. For W11 we have W11 divided by W11 plus W12, and for W12 it is also associated with X1, W21. So this one W21 and this one. So similarly we can calculate EX2. Similarly, so we have W12 divided by W11 plus W12. X2 will receive error from Y1 as well as it will receive error from Y2. So then the equation will be W22 divided by W21 plus W22 into EW2. So this is how, if you have more than one neuron in the output layer, this is how your backpropagation will work. Now how can we represent it in terms of matrix? So we can write it there that final error, X means these two inputs, so final error can be computed as in terms of matrix. So it will be W11 divided by this term, W11 plus W12, W21, I'm just copying entire thing whatever I have got over here, W22, W12, W11 plus W12, W22, W21 plus W22, and here weight into input, and here we are calculating error from Y1 and error from Y2. So this is how we can represent this in terms of matrix. And here I am giving you one trick. So whenever you will follow the backpropagation equation in case of two neurons in the network, you will never find this equation. You will find a simplified equation. Now here I will give you one trick how this equation can be represented in a simpler form. See, if you consider the denominator, what you find? So it is a denominator it is containing weight ratio. And why we are considering this weight ratios as a denominator? Because it is acting as a normalization factor. So we don't care about this. In mathematics, we can omit this one. So whatever normalization factor we have in the denominator, we can omit them. Because we can say that the final equation will be have other means of regularization and learning neural network techniques. So what we can do, we can just omit the normalization factor and we can write this equation as W11. I will omit this portion. Then it will become W21. Then W12. I will omit this portion and W22. So this denominator can be excluded and the rest of the part will be same, EY1 and EY2. So just you have to remember one point, since they are normalization factors, so we can omit the normalization factor. So this is the actual equation of the backpropagation. Right? So this is the equation that we have got. But also there is one observation. What is that observation? Now try to understand what is our first matrix that we have derived. See, this matrix is W11, W21, W12, W22. Now go back to the previous one, that is this one. So in this case, what is the matrix value? See here, the matrix value is coming as W11, W12, right? So if you compare this matrix with the previous matrix, what you get, I'm just telling you, the difference is you will get one transposed form. Means here whatever matrix we have got like W11, W21, W12 and W22, in the previous case we have whatever we have got. If we want to convert this matrix in the previous form, so we can just perform transpose on it. So it will be a W11, W12, W21, W22. It was the previous matrix. So if you just apply transpose on it, you will get back to this one. So here my point is, so the difference is the row and the column that is switched. So we can call this as transposition of matrix. So we can do this one. So here, see, since there are no need to use two different variables, we can just use the same variable from the feed forward algorithm. So now finally we will get the calculation as En-1 Wn transpose En. So this is the final equation of backpropagation. So what you have to note over here, note that in feed forward algorithm we were going from the first layer to the last layer, but in the backpropagation we are going from last layer of the network to the first one. Since to calculate the error in the given layer, we need the information about the error in the next layer. So this is how this equation will work. This is the concept of backpropagation. So here what I did, whatever matrix we have achieved in feed forward section, if you compare that matrix with this matrix, whatever we have achieved right now after normalizing this factor, you just find it is a transpose. So that's why I'm using this transposing time, and everything will be same. Weight into this term, see weight into this term, and this is how we can calculate the error. So this is your step number 2. This is the backpropagation technique. Now we have the third one, that is we have to update the weight. So now the third term is known as updating the weights. So this part is very, very important because you have asked me one question, why we need slower training, why we are not considering the larger training process. Now pay attention to this. So this step is very much important because updating the weights are equally important. Means whenever we have started designing our neural network with the first weight value, it means these weights will be assigned randomly, and later in different stages we have to update the weight according to the importance. Now in case of updating the weight, we have to consider one graph. Then I can explain this to them. See, consider, so we are talking about error, right? So consider this graph. So we have one graph and here we have some error value. So we are talking about errors, and here in this axis we have weights, weight value, and say this graph will look like this. So what is this graph? I will tell you. And see, this portion is known as, say this one is lower than other hinge, so this is an optimal one. So see, the error informs us about how wrong our solution is. So why I am talking about error? So whatever error we are getting from the output layer, by visualizing the error we can define how wrong our solution is. So naturally, what is our best solution? Best solution means if the error value is minimal. So what is our final objective? The final objective is whatever error we are getting from the output node, it should be minimal in nature. Now see, error function depends on the weights of the network. So whatever weights I am talking about, these weights are the most important contributing factor that could determine the error. So updating weights is very much important. So we want to find out such weight value that results in global minima in the error function. Global minima in the error function is we want to find out that weight value that will give us the minimal error. So that weight will be the good one. Now how to find out that weight? This one is important. So you have to note one thing. So in this picture, it is just for visualization purpose. In real life, this application will have more than one weight. So for simplicity, I have considered lower dimension function, but try to understand this concept. So how we can find out this position? So say this is a hill and this is the lowest position. Now conceptually, how we can find out this lowest error part? So from where should we start? So the question is, what should be the starting value of the weights so that we could reach the lowest error? See, we don't know the answer. The simplest idea over here is start with a random weight. Means start with any random position. See, I'm starting from here. So whenever you are designing your neural network for the first time, you have to give any random value to the weights and then calculate the error function. Now for those weights, after calculating the error function, now try to adjust it. Then you have to check the slope. So whatever error you have got for the random weight value, now then you have to check the slope of this function and then you move to the downhill manner. Now again adjust the weight, then find out the error, then find out the slope. Then again do the same thing, and in the meantime, if you follow this pattern by adjusting weight, so one day you will reach to this minimal error. So this is the concept. So whatever error you are getting, by repeatedly adjusting the weight in the neural network, you can reach to the lowest possible error. Lowest possible error means our neural network is trained properly, it has understood everything, so we have to stop over here. But there is another problem. So here we have to consider the concept of learning rate. See, what is the concept of learning rate? See, learning rate basically regulates how big step we are taking while coming to this downhill location. Because say if this is the graph and this is the lowest error position, and if you are taking very big steps, so what will happen? So whenever you are taking very big steps, fine, you may reach this point very fast, but it may happen you may miss this point. This optimal point may be missed out. So taking large learning rate in order to train your network first, you may miss the optimal error position. However, if your learning rate is low, so this is the lowest error position and you are taking very small steps, means you are taking very low learning rate. So what will happen? Fine, it slows down the training process, but one day you will reach this optimal error value. So this learning rate is another concept that you have to keep in mind always, that while training your network you have to adjust the learning rate also. In general, the learning rate ranges between 0 to 1. The smaller learning rate means the lesser the change to the weight. Means if you are fixing a very small learning rate, means you are changing the weight in a very less value. Means with a very small margin you are regulating the weights. If the learning rate is close to 1, it means we use the full value of the derivatives that we are using to update the weight. And when it is the close to 0, it means a very small part of it you are using. So you have to find out a learning rate, the proper value of the learning rate that will adjust your weight in such a manner so that you can reach the optimal error. So this is the basic concept in neural network. So that's why this step number 3, updating weights, are very much important. So what we have discussed so far, so updating weights. So from the initial training day, I am talking about weights. So what is the importance of weights? This weight factor will decide what should be the goodness of your output. Means good output means less error, right? Means whatever output you have got and whatever is your expectation, the difference is very less. So this weight adjustment is very much important, but we don't know what should be the initial value of the weight. So in the neural network, we will start from the random position. We will take random value. So initially we have chosen random weight. So whatever error we will get at the first iteration, then this error will be very large. Then we will back propagate this error and we will try to adjust the weight so that the error could be less for the next propagation. So we have to adjust this weight to get the less number of error. And this weight adjustment again is totally dependent on learning rate. If the learning rate is very low, then you are adjusting the weight in a very slight manner. Means you are just changing the weight in a very small amount of value. So means you are regulating the weights in a well manner properly. So your error adjustment will be good. So lesser learning rate will be good. But unfortunately, if you take large learning value, that is learning value ranges from 0 to 1, if you chosen this learning rate as 1, so what will happen? Your training process will be faster. Means you will get fast weight adjustment, but you will never, it may possible that you will not be able to reach the lower error value. So whatever error value you are getting, it is not the minimal one. However, getting the minimal error is the ultimate objective. So in today's class, what we have discussed, number 1, we will perform forward propagation in neural network. Second, we have to perform backward propagation in neural network in order to update the weight. And the third point is we have to update the weight. Update the weight in order to get lower error. And the most important contributing factor in this case is learning rate. So this is the overall concept of the neural network. So representing neural networks in terms of matrix will not work. You have to find out some process so that you can train your neural network. And your neural network can only be trained if you can minimize the error by back propagation. And it is only possible if you properly adjust the learning rate. Then only you can reach the least or the minimal error part. And then only you can say that whatever output you are getting from the neural network, it is perfect. Right? So never expect 100% accuracy. So this is the basic concept of neural networks. So is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you have any question, you can ask me about this neural network. So now it is clear that why we have to maintain a balance while training the neural network. Too much fast and too much slow training process are not acceptable. So is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the basic concept. So now I will demonstrate the code from next onwards, and this will be the last part of our session, and then we will classify some dataset. Anyways, I will send you the code by today. You can apply this code on iReach dataset and try to find out what output it is giving. And in the code, you will find the concept of learning rate and everything, whatever I have discussed, to try to explore them. Right? And iReach dataset is already there with you. I will give you the code also and then try to execute it. Right?
Okay, ma'am.
So neural network is too much hard or it is easy?
ম্যাম একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল
Sure, ask me.
ম্যাম ওই অ্যাক্টিভেশন ফাংশনের মধ্যে যখন ওই হাইপারবোলিক ফাংশন ও ট্যানজেন্ট ফাংশন যেটা আগের দিন বলছিলেন ওটা কোন জায়গায় অ্যাপ্লাই হচ্ছে ওটা
Right. That is applied over here. So it is same thing that we are just calculating weight into input, right? So we are performing summation. So after getting the summation, then we will apply the activation function over here, right? So activation function is always applied in the linear equation whenever you are calculating y output, and then bias term is added. Now what is the importance of activation function, you can ask me. The simple solution is that is, say you are performing any binary classification, 0-1 classification or any kind of binary classification you are performing. So at this point of time, what you will do? At this point of time, which kind of activation function you can take? Say you have sigmoid function, you have tanh function. So at this point of time, why I'm not explaining this one, because you have to understand the pattern of these functions. So whenever I'm talking about sigmoid function, this is ranges between 0 to 1, right? And whenever I'm talking about tanh function, step function, it will look like this. So depending on the value of the function, you have to decide which activation function you should use. But I'm giving you one tip. In general, everywhere the sigmoid function is used as an activation function, and I will talk in details about this activation function, and also today I will share one video with you where you can learn the concept of activation function. It's a simple mathematics. See, if we need some value, say we are performing some classification, right? So if the expected value of the classification is either 0 or 1, means is it a spam email or it is a not spam email, 0 and 1, at this point of time we will prefer to use sigmoid function because it will give you the value between 0 and 1, right? So at this point of time we will write the formula of sigmoid function as an activation function. But your question is where we should use? It's a simple thing. Whenever you are calculating the output, you have to use this formula, and you have to use activation function after calculating this one. So what should be this function? It is dependent on the situation. Now I'm giving you a good example. Say whenever we are learning on deep neural network, means whenever we are training deep neural network where we have a very large number of hidden layers in the hidden layer section. So at that point of time we will use one activation function which is very popular nowadays, ReLU function. What happens if we use ReLU function? Then there are some inherent problem in the neural network that will never arise. But whenever we are designing for the first neural network, you have to use sigmoid function. Why? I will explain it in the next day. That will be the last session. So we have to talk about these details. So at that day we will talk about, but most popular activation functions are ReLU, tanh, hyperbolic tanh, and sigmoid. Right?
ওকে ম্যাম আর বায়াসটা কি ম্যাম ওটা বুঝতে পারেন?
Right. Bias is a simple thing. Try to understand. So if you ask me this question that why we are using bias, I'm just giving you a very simple example. See, these are the neurons and input neurons, and this is the output neuron. They are connected. So what is my intention? Here my intention is whatever information is there in these nodes, we have to propagate this information in the forward direction, right? So information flow in the forward direction up to the output neuron, it is our intention. Now flow of information is only possible whenever we are computing this factor, it is a non-zero value. 0 means no information is flowing. But if this value is a non-zero value, then only we can receive any information in the output node end. But since here we are calculating something into something, it may happen for some situation, it may result in 0. It may happen. So what will happen? As a result, no information will flow. So to avoid this situation, we will add one bias term. And the value of the bias should not be 0. Value of the bias must be some constant value. So you have to provide some value to the bias, so that even if this term is 0, then also due to presence of this bias term, some information will flow to the final output neuron. So adding bias means so this is the conceptual thing. But why we need bias? So I have explained that whenever we are writing this y equal to mx plus c concept, you can think c as a bias term. Why? If c is not present, then always the straight line will pass from the origin. So passing straight line from the origin, it is a special case. It is not a real case. In real life, the lines will pass from anywhere. So basically this bias term is giving us some kind of flexibility in the network. And why this flexibility is needed? So that your neural network can predict in a more accurate manner. Understood this term? So this is the importance of bias.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Concept is clear? Okay. Means bias will decide whether the neuron will fire the information to the next level or not. See, if the bias term is absent, then there is a chance that the value will flow to the next layer. But what if this value is 0? So we are not going to take any chance. So we are just adding one term so that we could get some information flow to the network. So this is the importance of bias. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other question? Okay. Can you please take the attendance?
Yes, ma'am. I have taken it. I'll send you, ma'am.
Okay. So no question from your end? So the concept of neural network is clear. So today I'm sending you 2 videos. One is the concept of bias. I have done one mathematics, how this bias will work. And also I'm sending you one video where I have clearly explained about activation functions. Go through all these videos. Next day I will conclude all these things. But if anyone asks you this question, that is how many steps are there in order to train the neural network, what will be the answer? Algorithmic steps.
I'm forward, backward, and update.
Forward propagation, backward propagation, and updation of weight. Yes. And there will be another question. What is the importance of learning rate in neural network?
It would be neither fast nor slow. So like a balanced learning rate.
Means, no,
Ma'am,
what
to
is the
select
importance?
Optimum weight. Optimum
What?
value of the weight.
Optimal
To choose
weight,
the optimum.
yes, to choose the
To choose the optimum value of the weight. No.
okay. So this is not the optimal value of the weight. To adjust the weight in order to get the optimal value of the error. So learning rate is needed to adjust the weight, right? Why weight adjustment is needed? Because if you adjust the weight properly, you will get less error from the output neuron, right? And what should be the value of the learning rate? The value of the learning rate will be less, nearer to 0, not nearer to 1, because it ranges between 0 to 1. So if fast learning rate means your network is not learning at all, and you may miss the optimal value of the error. Always remember this thing. And also there will be one tricky question. Okay, Now we are going to design one neural network. So tell us what should be the initial value of the weights for your network. Now try to visualize that hill picture. What should be the initial value of the weights I have decided? From where should I start? Because initially whenever you are designing the neural network, you don't know the weight value. So what should be the weight value? So here the answer is any random value. So initially whenever designing the weights, you have to take any random value. So after giving the random value, you just check what is the amount of error. If the amount of error is very high, then you again back propagate it, adjust the weight. Now start weight adjustment. So weight adjustment concept will only start when you have some weight value initially, and just make a note, the initial value of the weights will be random for a neural network. We don't know what should be the initial weight value. Start with any random value. Okay. So in the code, people prefer to use some random functions to generate the weight values. Arbitrarily, they will take the weight values, right? So initially, the weight of the network will be any random value. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is all about today's session. So can we end this session?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, in your machine learning channel, we'll get all these videos.
Yes, I'm just sending it to the group and as well as classroom. I'm just immediately sending it into the group.
Okay.
Right? You just check them, and also you will get this this one recording of this session in the college channel. It will be uploaded soon.